Good evening, Steel City. Welcome to the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tonight, our 53rd edition will be live from the original podcast room of the Black and Gold Paraphernalia. This will be an episode where you will hear two phrases quite often: wash, rinse, repeat, and it's time. On tonight's show, I will have my son, Anthony Calise, join me as we get into this disastrous ending of the Pittsburgh Steelers' 2024 season. 5 straight losses and a first-round playoff loss. Wash, rinse, repeat. We will have our exit interviews on the season. Mike Tomlin as head coach. It's time. The possibility of replacing Mike Tomlin. It's time. Our rants and our ideas as how to these wash, rinse, repeat season will come to an end. And I will pose a question to Steeler Nation out there about Mike Tomlin. And we'll have a first time and it's time statement never heard on the Yinzer Report coming up. My son and I will be pumped up for tonight's 53rd episode. Hashtag here we go. Speaking of losing, wash, rinse, repeat, I have 2 incredible stats pertaining to Pittsburgh sports teams, just recent and past. These 2 stats are pretty mind-blowing. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's time. I will start this year's show with our tremendous sponsors, IE Sports Radio new sponsor Vital, along with the amazing Planet Jerky, premium jerky, the jerky that's on another planet. Seal the deal, wax seal, wax stamps. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. Plus, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports and why we are on air doing the Yinzer Report. Steel City, please come join me and my son, Anthony Calise, on my 53rd episode, 32nd live on StreamYard. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is Ralph Calise, your host for the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Thank you for everybody tuning in, and thanks for listening to our sponsors to start the show off. Please do not dismiss those sponsors. They are all excellent sponsors, and I'm sure you can find anything available at either one of your liking. I have the IE Sports Radio sponsorship coming up also. Don't forget about IE Sports Radio, the reason why we are doing this on the air. And we also have a new sponsor that was just given to us recently. As you see, I put it up on the screen there. The newest sponsor is Raw Nutrition Supplements at the GetRawNutrition.com. You can use the promo code IESR for 10% off. So all you people who are working out for your New Year's resolutions, I guess that would go nice with the Vital apparel. As you could see here on IE Sports Radio, as we're stocking up on the gym wear and the workout stuff. That's a prelude to our boss, Larry B., who is very prominent in working out, and he is what we call a gym rat. All right, so today's show is going to be a little different, as I have a special guest who I believe is ready to come on, and that is my son, Anthony Calise. And there he is. What's up, buddy? How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Could be better. You know the deal here with football, and this team kind of like ruined my holiday, ruined everything. We were together for it all together. And we are going to talk about it today. Just a couple of reminders. The Yinzer Report is at Yinzer Report _IE on X Twitter. And if you have any thoughts or concerns you want to hit me up with personally, you could hit me up at KaliseR786 on X Twitter. So here we go. We're going to start this show. And this is going to be all towards the Pittsburgh Steelers and our feelings. And this is going to be more towards Mike Tomlin, about what's going to happen to him, if anything is going to happen to him. And my son is ready to go. But before we go and do that, I have a statement I've written here to start the show off, and I'm going to read it. And this is a first you will ever hear from your host, Ralph Calise, here on the Yinzer Report about Mike Tomlin. So, Ant, I'm going to read this, and then you can jump in right after I read it and just, tell the people out there about how you felt the season went and how everything is going with Mike Tomlin. So here it goes. All right. So this is about Mike Tomlin. Now, everybody knows the season ended last Saturday. We got beat by the Baltimore Ravens. He didn't show up. Who the hell knows what happened? All kinds of crazy stuff. But if you saw the game, you get the gist of what I'm about to talk about. So here is something that I've never said on the Yinzer Report, and you could go back on every episode about Mike Tomlin, and you could hear that I've never said this. So here goes. First quarter score for the Pittsburgh Steelers was a game-losing streak from their 2016 AFC title game. These are their first quarter scores in those games from that time. 73-0. 73-0. You want that again? 73-0. You got beat in your first quarter 73-0 since 2016 when you made the freaking playoffs. If this does not speak to unprepared game planning, non-competitive team in the biggest of moments, I don't think anything could. Honestly, 73-0. You all know I have a tremendous respect for Mike Tomlin and him as a person, but recently I've been critical, and now I'm saying maybe it was a mistake extending him for 3 more years. I've been a Mike Tomlin defender now for this past 6 years of playoff heartbreak and never said fire, trade, or Mike Tomlin resign. So that being said, I have been extremely judicious when it comes to actually cutting ties with Coach Tomlin. I never said, even being an emotional fan, to fire Tomlin 5 minutes after losing a game. It's not a big deal for me to say that. You guys who listen here on the Yinzer Report know how I feel towards Mike Tomlin, but I will say it's been building this year. We all saw the game Saturday. We heard what Kirk Herbstreit said. The Steelers did not show up. The Steelers quit on their coach. We know the numbers by now. 8 years of non-competitive in a playoff game and not winning anywhere. One of the longest streaks of its sort since the 60s and tied for the longest playoff losing streak in the NFL. And this 73-0 in 6 years of playoff football in the first quarter. So in words you've never heard from your host of the Yinzer Report, say here before, here we go, and there is no hashtag on that. I was never convinced there would be this time, but this is a big deal. We are talking about a guy who has represented the city of Pittsburgh, who is respected across the NFL and likely to be a Hall of Famer. I was willing to wait, but I think Mike Tomlin deserves the benefit of that doubt, even if barely. But I'm saying this now because it's obvious to me, like any breakup would be, it's goddamn time. It's time. It's time. We saw the game the other night. We saw the team quit on Tomlin. We saw an unprepared team from the start again. The season ends the same and worse than ever again. This is very little hope going into next season. So I will say it again as a diehard Steelers fan. The Steelers need to fire, trade, or move on from Mike Tomlin. This is the first time on air I've ever said this. It makes me sick and sad to say it, but I'm sorry. It's true. It's really true. And if it needs to come in from moving on, like the Patriots did with Belichick, where you made it clear where you were going to move on, but it will be respectful where nothing is announced, or like firing or find a way to make a trade. And, of course, this guy has a no-trade clause in his contract. All of that, we have just reached that place, and it could not be more clear. This is the time. Relieve Mike Tomlin of his head coaching duties. Hashtag, here we go. Buddy, it's all yours. Go ahead.
I don't even know where to start after that because I actually wasn't really expecting that. But I agree with everything you just said because at this point, as you guys can see, I am not wearing no Steeler paraphernalia right now. Nope. My stuff is in the closet. They're put in the drawers. I'm just kind of done with this team right now. And I'm actually embarrassed to be a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. Mike Tomlin, he's got to go. I'm over it. I already told you. I told Greg. I think I've told a lot of people that if I went to training camp this year and he was signing and we were able to actually interact with him like we've done in the past, I would get thrown out and probably banned for the stuff that I would say to him.
Yes, and I know that would definitely happen because you're right next to him, and oh my God,
I'm so over him. You know, the new standard in Pittsburgh is not the same standard like it was. The new standard now is get Mike Tomlin above 500, make the playoffs, and then get blown out in the wild card. That's the new standard in Pittsburgh. That's not what I grew up on. I grew up on AFC championship games, Super Bowls, and just better football play when it comes to the playoffs. We all know, us diehard football fans, when it comes to January, the end of December, and playoff time, that's when you're supposed to be playing your best football. This was probably the worst football I have ever seen from this team. The worst.
Me too.
This team proceeded for 5 straight games on national television to get blown out every single game the same way. No adjustments, no changes, nothing. We have defensive communication problems in week 15, week 16. The offense is lost. I mean, I was stunned when it happened, but as you know, since we watch every game together, I said it from the start that this was going to happen. Right after they lost to Baltimore, I said to you, we're going to lose out, make the playoffs, and get absolutely embarrassed in the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened.
And I said that on the show. I don't know if you saw the holiday show I did with the Baltimore, Washington personnel here on IE Sports Radio, Mike Pat. I said it was going to happen. I actually played a clip from the show last week. And boy, oh boy, did it happen. And I mean, no change. I have a comment here. That I read. I saw it on Twitter, but I remember I did a show on it last year, right after they lost to Buffalo. And let's not give let's not give this guy a pass neither, because this guy is irking me too. Art Rooney II, our general manager, our owner, whatever the frig you want to call him, last year after the loss to Buffalo, here was his comment. We had enough of this. It's time to get some wins. It's time to take the next steps. And so, yes, I think there's some urgency here for sure. This is what I was saying at the beginning. This is wash, rinse, repeat bullshit. It's bullshit. This guy has done nothing. This guy does not know football. He's a lawyer. He just hangs around. He loves Mike Tomlin. He'll never have the balls to go and fire Mike Tomlin, let alone now we can't even trade him because he has a no trade clause. Okay? The only way we're going to relieve Mike Tomlin is if he resigns, and he's not doing that because he's running the whole goddamn operation out there. I mean, I don't know where else to go with this guy. I don't get it. If I'm going to pose a question out there, and I don't know how many Steeler fans are out there that can answer this question, but I saw this the other day, and it came up, and it's killing me because it's so true. We're all hell-bent on this 18 years of winning record, and Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season in 18 years. How about this? How about you say, this is the question. You can answer it first because you're on the air with me. Do you think Mike Tomlin's success has put the Steelers in a hole?
I mean, I think so. Because
I do too.
Here's the problem with what we've been watching the past couple of years. Not even this year. Let's take this back 5-6 years ago. And I said it when it happened. The year that Big Ben tore his elbow up week 2 versus Seattle. That was your chance to have a terrible, miserable season, win 2 games, and draft a quarterback. Because, again, I've said it once. I've said it again. I talk about it all the time with my friends. You need to have a quarterback in this league to win. It's that simple. Yes. You're not beating Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Josh Allen, Hurts. I could go on and on with the quarterback play that's in Pittsburgh. You're just not.
Nope.
It's never going to happen. But when you have the opportunity, when Ben got hurt, to tank, and I know people don't want to hear the word tank because Steeler fans aren't used to it. I don't care anymore. I'm fully okay with next year going 0-16. That's how done I'm with this team right now. I'm okay with it because he'll probably get fired, which is what has to happen. And maybe we'll draft a quarterback. Maybe we'll go get Archie Manning. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine with that because the quarterback play that I've watched since Ben retired, and even his last year wasn't the greatest. I'm watching Mason Rudolph, Delvin Hodges, Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson. Justin Fields, I think, played the best out of all of them, and he got screwed out of the starting job because of Mike Tomlin because he promised Russell Wilson the job.
And this is the problem. This is the problem, and you can go and look back. Even Ben, I mentioned this a million times on the show, and I'm wearing his hat, as you can see. The guy is my favorite Steeler, possibly of all time. The 1A, 1B, 1C, him, Hines Ward, and Rod Woodson, my 3 favorite Steelers ever. I'm wearing a hat. Love you, Ben. And by the way, he is the best quarterback in Pittsburgh right now. Anyway, it even started with his last year when he couldn't throw the ball downfield. Remember, he was throwing short passes. Throwing short passes. They never took initiative on getting a replacement quarterback. I got to go out there and read that Lamar Jackson, they drafted Terrell Edmonds, and Lamar Jackson got drafted by Baltimore after that pick. I didn't even know this. What are you doing? I mean, the respect Mike Tomlin has for Lamar Jackson, it's just insane. And I read this the other day, and I couldn't believe it. And that is another one of the problems. They have not gotten a quarterback to come in here and play the way Mike Tomlin wants it to be played. And these days of your father's Steelers, like I always say when you come on, these ain't your father's Steelers anymore. He's playing back in the day like when the Steelers used to play. Run the ball, hit a big pass, run the ball, play defense. That's what Mike Tomlin is doing now, and you just said it. You can't win football games like this in today's age. You need a quarterback, okay? And don't even get me started on the quarterback because when Mike Tomlin benched Justin Fields when they were 4-2, okay, I don't know if you knew this, but that was Mike Tomlin's decision. Again,
yes,
Mike
I know.
Tomlin. Nobody was on board for it. And now all the things that are coming out, especially after the crappy season that I think Russell Wilson had, I don't care that he was 6-1. He played the worst football of his, possibly of his career down the stretch. And Mike Tomlin, okay, let's go back. Let's go back now again to Mike Tomlin. We go back to when they had the chance against Baltimore to win the division. Another thing mentioned on the show. Mike Tomlin blew that. He had guys who he didn't play that could have played that were practicing that week. You win the division. You win that game. You win the division. You get a home game. That's what you want. That's what you want to win a playoff game, a home game. All right? The chances of you not winning a home game in the NFL are very good. What was that stat you told me about the referees that were in the Baltimore game this weekend?
The home teams win almost every game. They have 3 losses.
Yeah, and I was the referee crew that played that was versus the Baltimore Saturday. Okay, you need a home game. Okay, you needed that home game, and you went out there and you didn't play 3 guys that probably would have helped you. And look what happened. You didn't get blown out. I mean, you were in the game, and he threw a pick 6. That was a terrible game. He fumbled the ball, running the ball instead of sliding. Then he threw the pick 6. We were 24-17. We had a chance. And he just played like crap, Russell Wilson. I started hating him towards the end of the season, like you knew. And I hate him now. And hopefully they don't bring him back. Okay, Justin Fields got the shaft here. Okay, he got the shaft. He should have played versus Cincinnati the last game of the season. Mike, you said you were going to make changes. Change the goddamn situation up. Okay, you were already in the playoffs. See what Justin Fields has. You're playing a defense that is terrible. Okay, I don't want to hear that Joe Burrow this, Joe Burrow that. Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, good. They're going to put 40 points on the line. You played them 3 weeks ago. You scored 44 points. You put Justin Fields in there. You win that game hands down. He just did not want to make a move. He's stubborn. He's stubborn in his ways. He's like an old. Oh my God.
I don't even think that he's stubborn. I just don't think he knows football. I'm serious when I say this. I understand all these players say they want to play for him. He's a huge motivator. He's like a father to them. I don't care no more for that. I truly don't. Because when it comes to the X and O's, he does not know football. And now we'll get into another topic. His coordinators are worse than him because he's so afraid that if he brings in good coordinators, which is why we let Brian Flores go, they're taking his job. See you later, Mike. It's a lot easier to fire him. You're going to fire Mike Tomlin and what? Promote Arthur Smith or Terrell Austin to be your head coach? Of course not. And I told you when we were 4-2 and he said he was benching Fields, Mike Tomlin should have been fired the next day. I don't even care if they won 3 straight games after. It's a joke. It's a joke. It really is now. And, he wants to have this, run the ball, play defense. For being the highest paid defense in football, $135 million on defense. You got people like TJ, Cam, the list goes on and on. Do you know how many points this team's given up every playoff game the last 6 years? Because I know I do. They've given up 30. Points. They've given up over 30 points every playoff game since the last playoff win versus Matt Moore.
Oh, that was versus the Dolphins. Yes.
They got blown out by Belichick in New England, which we all knew that was happening.
What else is that? That always happened.
The only chance we had to probably win a Super Bowl was the year we played Jacksonville, and they gave up 45 points to Blake Bortles at home.
Right down the field, the first drive, 4th and 1 on the goal line. 4th and goal on the 1 yard line. The guy ran it in, nobody touched him.
Then we give up another 40 points to Cleveland at home during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was the game. That was the home game.
We go to Buffalo, we give up another 35 points.
Yeah. No,
we played Kansas City, gave up 40 points.
And that all goes back to the beginning when I said 73-0 in the first quarter. Those are all games that
I don't understand how you're going to sit here and say, we got the best defense, we got this, we got that. But when your defense has to play its best, they crumble. They completely crumble.
I mean, us Steeler fans out there, and I'll admit I was part of it. Yeah, the winning record was great. 18 years winning record. But, man, when it all comes down to it and all these stats come out, what have you done for me lately, man? You got to win in the playoffs. And then his press conference. Let's get into that. His press conference, what was it, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday? Tuesday. I don't even know when the hell it was. He's bouncing around all the questions.
Because he knows he's done. He knows he's wrong. That's why. And then his best comment was, he said when, I think the lady Brooke Pry asked him about the pressure from the fans. Oh, I'll take it all on my shoulders. Mike, I don't want you to take it on your shoulders.
No, we don't.
Out the door.
No, we don't want you. That's it. We don't need that no more.
I don't care no more. Listen, they want to trade him to the Jets, trade him to the Raiders. Let those teams have him, and they can
trade him.
And they can parade around that they made the playoffs, because those are the teams that need him. You need the teams that haven't made the playoffs in 10, 15 years. They would love that. They would love to go 10-7 every year, make the playoffs and lose. I don't. Yeah. That's not what I was grown up on.
Yeah, that's what that. Listen, they're not going to trade him. Okay, like
I know they're not.
They got no trade clause. Okay, they're talking all week that there's going to be. He said in his press conference there will be changes. Contracts are expiring. I guess he was talking about the coaches. What's happened?
Yeah, and then Adam Schefter posted today
that rinse, repeat.
Wash, rinse, major repeat. Changes are going to happen.
It's the same shit every day, every week, every time he gets into a press conference. Tomlin Tuesday has become a repeat of Tomlin Tuesday. And it's just it's so frustrating that we were 10-3, okay? And we already clinched the playoff spot, and we were now going for the division, and look how things wound up. It's just disgusting. And here's this banner I'm throwing up there. I think it was over when we were 10-3. How about that?
They had 5 chances to win one game and clinch.
Oh, my God.
And it got worse and worse week by week. And as far as Art Rooney goes, because I know
I was just going to bring him up next. Go ahead. I think you're going to say it before I know
his father's tossing around in his grave.
They're all tossing around in their graves. Art and the brother, his brother.
Here's the thing. The reason why there's no pressure from Art Rooney to fire Tomlin is because us idiot fans like us that go every year to the games, Pittsburgh's still selling out. They're selling all the merchandise, selling out the games.
Yep.
So as long as he's making his money, why is he going to get rid of Mike Tomlin?
Yep.
So we're part of the problem.
I know. Yep. We are a problem. We are a problem. We are a problem. Now that you mentioned this guy, let's get into this guy. Let's get into the owner here. Okay? Because you know me. You know how I've been talking about him with you lately. Okay, this guy, first of all, I don't understand what his thinking is. Okay, I just read that comment that he said to you, and he does nothing. He does nothing. He to me he does nothing. And let's go back to the schedule now. We've talked about this a million times. Okay, you got to play 17 games a year. Yes, you got to play 17 games a year. That schedule that we played this year, okay. What do we play? 3 games in 11 days.
3 games in 11 days.
3 games in 11 days. And who was it? Philly first.
Philly, Baltimore, and Kansas City.
Kansas City. And would you say in those 3 games that the Steelers, or not even the Steelers, Mike Tomlin gave up in all 3 of those games?
Yeah. The game we watched, we were together watching the game versus the Chiefs. They gave up in the third quarter.
Okay, so now you're Art Rooney. Okay, you're Mike Tomlin. You guys are on some type of committee, I think, for competition or whatever it is. Okay, and I'm not even getting into the Rooney Rule with Tomlin because you know me, I don't want to go any. I'm on the air here. I don't want to get thrown off the air about any racial stuff. But everybody out there, if you don't know what the Rooney Rule is, that's part of the reason why Mike Tomlin ain't get fired. So look it up and do your research on that. But getting back to Art Rooney the second, all right, because he'll never be number 1, and he definitely won't be the father of father. Okay, you and Mike Tomlin next year go into that committee, competition committee or whatever they're on the board, and you slam your fist down and say, there is no way you guys are picking a schedule like that for us again. I mean, I don't know if Hard Knocks had something to do with it.
Well, easily. That's the main problem.
AFC North. Okay, the Ravens had a bye before all this started. Okay, the Browns were already out of it, and the Bengals were just starting their hot streak. Okay, Art Rooney and Mike Tomlin, if they had any balls, would go to the NFL and tell them, listen, we are picking our schedule this year because you screwed the crap out of us this year with that schedule.
So the 2 reasons why they screwed us was, 1, because of the Hard Knocks, and because Pittsburgh is going to host the draft, I think, in 2026.
Yes, that was going to be my next point after you spoke. Yes.
So, and
that's why
they looked at Art Rooney and Mike Tomlin. They said, hey, listen, we're going to put you guys on Hard Knocks. You're going to get more exposure. You'll make more money. We're going to put the draft in Pittsburgh. You're going to get more exposure, make more money. So for Hard Knocks, how about we make you play all your division games at once? That would be great for Hard Knocks. We get some Mike Tomlin quotes and everything. I don't care anymore. I really don't. It would not faze me once. If they fired him tomorrow, I would probably parade around in my underwear. Because it's a joke at this point. It really is. And the only time he won a Super Bowl, it was with Bill Cowher's guys. Let's really be real now. Both teams. Even the game they lost to Green Bay. Those are all Bill Cowher's guys.
Now that the season is over, I'm going to try to do a show on that. I'm going to go through the whole roster when he first took over, and I'm going to see which guys were with Bill Cowher when he took over. On top of it, he had Dick LeBeau coaching the defense. Now you have that out there. Everybody's saying that he didn't even win that Super Bowl. He had he had Bill Cowher's guys.
And he's lucky. He's lucky Santonio Holmes caught the ball because he wouldn't even have a Super Bowl to even brag about.
The defense in that game.
And the defense almost blew the game that game.
Troy Polamalu was chasing Larry Fitzgerald. Oh, my God. A sight I will never forget.
And then I got to watch William Gay cover Jordy Nelson and get burned for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, that Super Bowl was lost on a fumble, too. But a story for another day. All right, listen, the chat is buzzing, I guess, because you're here. Let's see who's in the chat listening to us. I'm surprised anybody's listening to us after that. We got Ray Man. Have a great show. Danny Man. Let's go. Joseph and the whole family. Let's go, Yinzers. Aunt Mary Shea is in the chat. Have a great show tonight. Anthony Grotto, Ralphie, that's an old guy I used to work with. Another guy I should hook you up with now that you're starting there. Al Bleeping City with Mikey Guns. That's the guy who used to do the Boston show here. Let's go Yinzer. Terran Rodriguez, our main staple here at IE Sports Radio. Good evening, Ralph. Hope you're having an awesome show. Mikey Guns, and there's that 73-0 score again. Oh, my God, I can't believe that. Terran Rodriguez is giving me a volleyball update since he's so great at doing his volleyball thing there. He's actually at the tournament, I believe. Penn State men's volleyball was fun to watch despite them getting swept by number 1 UCLA. Oh, wow, I didn't even know they lost. I saw the text you sent me before. I didn't know they lost. Well, good for the number 1 UCLA. I guess they'll keep their ranking. Mikey Guns, again, those numbers are shocking. Your statements are 100% valid. Thank you, Mikey. Always Arizona Sports. Hope you're having a good show so far. Yes. Joseph Mann, why would you do that? I don't know what he's speaking about. And here you go, buddy. I'm putting this one up there for you. This is for you. You see it?
Yes, it is. I do see.
And that is my son's lovely girlfriend, future wife to be, Melissa. And another work friend is on there. Great show tonight. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for being in the chat. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll rant some more. But I'm going to give you a stat, just something about Pittsburgh sports when we get back too about that. All right, so this is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And we will be back right after this.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
All right, welcome back. This is Ralph Calise, host for the Yinzer Report with my special guest, my son Anthony. And once again, thanks for joining me tonight, pal. We calmed down after that first segment. I just put a banner up there. Pittsburgh sports a downer right now. I can't. I saw this the other day, and via that, I knew we were going to come on and rant about the Steelers. This is just basically what done Pittsburgh sports, and the Steelers are involved in it. So Pittsburgh sports, days since last hosting a home playoff game. Listen to this. This is great. Now, this is days since last hosting a playoff game. The Penguins, 967 days. That's the hockey team. The Steelers, 1,455 days. And I believe the last game was, like we mentioned, against the Browns during COVID.
Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh Pirates, 3,337 days. Oh, my God. No playoffs for at home in Pittsburgh in those amount of days. This amounts to a total of just about 3 years. There has been no postseason action in Pittsburgh. So I'm really surprised at the Penguins, but usually they're always in the playoffs and have home games. But the past couple of years they haven't made it. And as of now, presently, this is the other stat I have. Also, as of now, Steelers, Pitt football, Pitt basketball, Penn State football, the Penguins, and the Pirates have lost 19 straight games between them. Is that insane? So all the sports team in the Pittsburgh area that I just mentioned have not won. They're on a 19-game list. That's the Steelers, 5 in a row. You can figure it out. The Steelers, 5 in a row. Penn State lost their game to go to the championship. Pitt basketball is on a 3-game losing streak. Pitt football was 7-0. They lost their last 6 games. And the Pirates, of course, I guess, are in there. I don't know how many they lost before the end of the season, but 19 straight games. It's unbelievable. I saw those two stats, and I figured while we were ranting down on the Steelers,
might as well get the whole city involved.
Oh my God! Oh, it's just crazy times out there. Crazy times out there.
And the sad thing is, Pittsburgh really does run on their sports.
Oh yes, definitely. It is we don't have the 4 major sports. We only have 3.
You only got 3, I know.
But yeah, it's just they're just so heavy on things out there, and it's just a sin to see that there's no playoff games in Pittsburgh. I mean, hockey is a mainstay. It was a mainstay. The playoff games in the Penguins, forget about it. I mean, the Pirates still have a long way to go, but I don't know. Hopefully they can pull a rabbit out of their hat this year. So I had a question from somebody. No, I might as well just say who it is. Your cousin, Chris and James out there, they asked me to ask you a question for tonight's show. And they said, please do the guy justice. So I'll let you do the talking because I know you like him too. Talk to the Pittsburgh fans out there about George Pickens. I know you have to laugh. I mean,
listen.
This all started last year when we were supposed to go meet him at that sports show, and he missed his flight. And he missed his flight. You were going to take a photo with him. Man, it's just been downhill since then. But go ahead. Tell your cousins out there what your thoughts on George Pickens.
So, because George Pickens is a phenomenal talent.
Yes,
don't get me wrong. He really is. He has potential to be a top receiver in this league. I don't think the quarterback play is helping him, which is one problem.
No, definitely.
I don't think the plays that they're running for him is another problem. But I always knew when we drafted him, and they showed him at his house, and he's staring at the TV with the ski mask on. From that moment, I knew that this guy was going to be some sort of an issue.
Okay.
Not to the degree that he is, but I just think
I didn't even understand. I didn't even understand the picture until I found out about it. I didn't know what was going on there.
Well, they call him NFL Youngboy. It's basically a knockoff of a rapper whose name is NBA Youngboy. And the guy is basically known to just do bad things. He's a menace. He's always got to cause chaos, which is what George Pickens does.
Okay.
But the problem with George is he has all the talent in the world. We see all the crazy catches he makes. He makes catches that look hard, look easy. And then, like the game versus Cincinnati, he dropped 5 balls I think I could have caught, and he dropped all of them. And it's because he gets in his own head.
Man.
He's so worried about the referees, if they're going to call something for him, if they're going to call something against him, which majority of the times they do. And now it's coming out now that George Pickens was late for the game for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And they asked Mike Tomlin, he goes, "Oh, I don't know." Mike, what do you mean you don't know?
Yeah, he said he didn't know nothing about it.
He's the best player on offense. He's your best player, one of your best players on the team. You don't know he's late?
Listen, he went through this with Antonio Brown, who I know is a favorite Steeler of yours, and he went through it with Le'Veon Bell, okay? But the difference between those two guys, and we spoke about this, the difference between those two guys and George Pickens is
they showed up.
I know. Their talent showed up on the field on game day. This kid has it in his head where I got to be the talent, I got to be the show, and I'm just going to go out there and try to do what I want to do. I mean, that game, what was the game where he was Pat Fryermuth was holding him back because he was gesturing to the fans. It was versus Cincinnati.
That was when he dropped 5 balls.
He couldn't catch. I mentioned that on the show that next week. He couldn't catch a cold. He dropped 5 balls. Man.
And he actually had a great game versus Baltimore.
He did,
which is crazy. But those are the games when you watch him. The game versus Baltimore. We remember the game when he played, in the beginning of the year versus Atlanta. Though I wish he could just be normal like that for all 17 games, because if he could keep his head on straight, he really is a good player, but he lets so much outside noise get to him. And again, I know he's a young player. I get all that. But you're in the NFL. You clearly got a target on your back because everything he does, he gets flagged for, or he gets fined after the game. You just got to grow up a little bit and just try and not do that no more.
Yeah.
You can't go week after week after week doing all this stuff that you're wearing eye black saying you can't guard me, and he proceeded to have 2 catches for 8 yards.
Nope. Well, I know you're in the house because I see my Ben stuff in the background, and I have this, and man, you know how I feel about this team. You remember this helmet? I got you this helmet.
Yeah.
Took it to camp, and you got it all marked up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's got to be 28 autographs on there.
Yeah, I was running around like a madman, honestly.
Well, I know I got this for you.
I was just handing it out to people.
I know I got this for you, and it's yours, and you did all the work to get all these autographs. But this is in the podcast room, your old room, which is now the podcast room. This is in the podcast room, and I look at this helmet every time before I start a show, and I pray for the black and gold. So, I mean, this is how diehard of a fan your father is. I would come in the room before game day, before I came over to your house, and make the sign of the cross to this helmet. That's how much this helmet that you got at camp, that I got for you, and you did this at camp, means to me. So I just wanted to share that with you because
I never knew that. I'm learning something new today.
I figured I'd get you on air and share that to you live so everybody could hear it. But I did a show last week, and I was screaming that Mike Tomlin is tarnishing our favorite logo there. He's just I don't know, games that he's been in and games that he's given up. It's just sickening. Just a sickening, sick feeling. So we got about 10 minutes left. I don't know if I don't know if you could do this right now, but I didn't want to ask you this question, but what would be your outlook for us next year, the Steelers, to possibly, you know what I'm trying to say, turn this around from this whatever's going on. I mean, there's no movement yet. I mean, it's still early, but I don't think they're going to sign Najee. I don't think he's coming back. There's all kinds of talk.
I don't want him.
Okay. There's all kinds of talk. As you know, they want to trade. They're going to trade George Pickens. But then again, this is all coming from, you don't listen
I
to
can't really put too much stock into the Pittsburgh media because they love to stir crap up.
Exactly.
Because they did the same thing with AB before he went crazy, that they were going to trade him. And they never did. He had a great season. You can't – I'm really – as far as George Pickens goes, with the way this offense is right now, you can't trade him. You physically can't.
We got to get another wide receiver, but –
Well, I'm hoping they draft a kid from Ohio State.
I mean, come on. You went in. George Pickens was hurt. Did you see our wide receiving core? Did you see who it was?
Yeah, I'm watching Van Jefferson,
Calvin Austin, Ben Scarron. And we traded for Mike Williams, and he averaged an 18 per yard catch on like 8 catches. They didn't even use him. And then it came out that Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith weren't getting along towards the end. You know what? And I couldn't believe it at the time. Maybe Sean Payton was right. The guy is he's I don't know. I don't want to say a cancer, but he's not there. He's not the guy. He's not the guy he was. His career's over. I just hope, because there is really no quarterback out there that I want. There is one I want, and hopefully they sign him and keep him, and it's Justin Fields. I really want to see them give him a chance.
They got to listen. There's a lot of things.
I don't want Russell Wilson back. I don't want Russell Wilson back.
After what that guy just did the past 5 games, there's no way you can bring him back. He can't run. You need a dual quarterback in today's league.
We need a new offensive line coach because all these guys are young. You're going to have 3 guys next year on the line who played their rookie year this year. Okay, Dan Moore is gone. I mean, it's going to be a reshaped line, but you're going to have Fontenot back. You'll have Zach Frazier. You'll have McCormick. And remember we spoke about this. Omar Khan said it was a 5-year plan for these guys.
Talk about it wasn't no 5 months. Maybe it was maybe like 3 months, let alone 5 years.
The stuff,
here's the problem.
Stuff the upper management spews out there is just like they're wrong. Everything is wrong.
They definitely need an offensive. They need an O-line coach because they had the number 1 and number 2 tackles in the NFL who led the league in giving up sacks. Dan Moore had 12. Broderick Jones had 11. You're never going to win like that. And I know Broderick Jones is playing out of position. Hopefully, with Dan Moore not coming back, pray to God because he's terrible. You put Broderick back at his normal side. Fontenot's going to come in, play the right side because he got hurt. You're going to have Salem Malo at left guard, Frazier at center, and McCormick at right guard, and you go from there.
Right.
As far as the offense goes, I want them to sign Fields. I think that's really the only option. I don't want this team to go out and sign Sam Darnold. I could care less. I don't want them to go trade for Geno Smith. These are the names we're talking about to be quarterback for Pittsburgh. Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. Oh, and then Aaron Rodgers. I'm all right. I don't want any of that. I don't need Aaron Rodgers coming to the Steelers, losing a game, and then going to talk on Pat McAfee's show 2 days later because I'll really lose it. I'll lose it.
Just signed Justin Fields, man. He was 4-2. He did everything they asked of him. I mean, and I don't know. Mike Tomlin had that thing in his head from the start of the year that Russell Wilson was going to play, and he went for it. I mean, he looked like this guy was being touted as coach of the year. They were not even 10-3 even before that. He was being touted as coach of the year. Look where that got him.
Coach of the year now being basically all Pittsburgh wants him fired.
Oh my God! I can't. I'm getting all hot and bothered again. Oh my God!
It's the same thing. It's every year. It's the same thing, and it's the only way you're gonna get change with how it's going is you have to get rid of him because you're not gonna get a miracle quarterback that's gonna come down from the sky and just drop in your hand unless you want to go 0-16. Sure, then you'll be able to pick number 1 overall and get the best quarterback.
Well, that's it.
But
you need a quarterback.
With Mike Tomlin, that's not the case. Like I said, this team lost Ben. I'll never forget it. They lost Ben. They were already, I think, 1-1 after that game. And I'm thinking, here it is. This is going to be the first really miserable season that I'm going to watch Pittsburgh. And maybe he is a good coach because he somehow went 8-8 with Mason Rudolph and Delvin Hodges. I don't know how the hell he did it. They almost made the playoffs that year. So maybe I understand why people say, no, you can't get rid of him. He actually is a good coach. But that was your year to get a really good quarterback. I think the quarterback that they probably would have got would have been Kyler Murray. And I would take him in a second right now.
Yep.
But
I don't know.
You going 500 or a game above, it's not doing nothing for you. You're getting embarrassed every game in the playoffs. This is what, 5 straight years, 6 straight years we're getting blown out in playoff games. It's supposed to be tight games. We're losing by 30.
Yep. I just want to go through some comments that came up while we were doing this last part here. Ray Man, I agree. Tomlin's got to go. Big Lion Cat, 646. My buddy Patrick from work. Please beat Baltimore. Patty, that came and went, man. We got blown out. So I can't help you on that one. And he says, hey, Anthony. This is probably one of the guys you're going to meet once you get to the yard over there. He says, don't tell me Anthony is also a Pittsburgh fan. Yes. He's following in his father's footsteps. And he says to me, hey, big boy. That was my nickname. We used to call each other Big Boy. And Aunt Mary chimes in, hey, Anthony, I agree. No Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. We both agree. All 3 of us agree on that. All 3 of us agree on that. All right. Well, coming toward the end here. So I just want to say thank you very much for joining me. And we got the whole off season to go through, and we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. Thanks for coming on. I just want to shout out, I believe the Sports Couple Perspective show is back with Larry B and his wife, Cecilia. I think they're up next if they're not already on. And don't forget, Larry gave me this slot on a Friday night, which used to be his, but now he has his show back. He's going to be doing it once, I think, the third Friday of each month. And I think him and his wife, Cecilia, were going to be on tonight. So, Ant, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. Let me hit the music here. And, that was our rant.
On to next year.
On to next year. Wash, rinse, repeat. And remember, Yinzer Report fans, you heard it first here on the Yinzer Report. Fire Mike Tomlin by your host, Ralph Calise. Oh, boy. Larry B pops in there. We love you, Ralph. I love you too, buddy. Have a great show. Hey, say hello to Larry.
What's up, Larry? Have a great show, man.
There he goes. Hey, Anthony. Great show tonight. Joey, man. Danny, man. Great show, guys. Thanks a lot. We're all tuning in. Larry B, have a great show, man. You and Cecilia. I'll catch you guys next week, 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock Western time, Pacific time. And, Ant, thanks again, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll have you on soon in the off season, and we'll go from there. All right, buddy?
Sounds good.
The Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all of the sports. Good night.